to Love Thy Tender. My name is Paul McFadden. I'm going to be your host for a series of weekly interviews with some of our favourite bartenders over the course of the next few weeks. It's, as the name suggests, it's a way for us at Maison Fronde, of which I'm brand ambassador, to give something back to some of your favourite bartenders. Get an opportunity to get to know them a little bit better. Let's admit that it's also part therapy for me. I'm sure the boys will agree as well. We've had very lot of opportunities to actually talk to grown-ups for a while, and I'm starting to doubt my ability to do people stuff and talk to actual grown-ups. So I've kind of eased myself in and picked two half grown-ups to start with. Two of my favourite people in the industry, two of my favourite friends. You know them from Bartender Breakfast. What little you remember of Bartender Breakfast, the event we sorely missed this New Year's Eve. If you remember anything about this event, you'll remember these guys pounding it hard and working hard to give your drinks. You know them from holding microphones or megaphones at Rematch Biatch. You know them as the loveliest people in the industry. Let me proudly introduce you, Harry Gerakis and Russell Burgess.
Hello.
Hi guys.
So how have you coped with lockdown? Russell, you've been locked in with a baby. Like you guys are still managing your business. Like, how's it been for you? How's the last months been for you?
It's been very interesting. Interesting is a nice way of putting it. Yeah, so we recently had COVID. So that was really difficult. Myself and the missus.
How badly did you have it? Which type of COVID?
My missus had it badly. My children barely had it, and I had it even worse. I'm relatively healthy. Just thanks for pouring me the rum. But yeah, it was day, I think 11 or 12. We had to call paramedics. My breathing was going. It was like really bad.
Proper bad.
Yeah, seriously. So yeah, that's been the hardest, I think, part of the whole of lockdown, which has obviously been a long time. But yeah, surviving, thriving, just about.
I still
just about.
The reason for the paramedics, that he was trying to exercise on the side without any lungs working. So I think that is the reason why the paramedics were called. But yeah.
We actually had to call the paramedics because we ordered pizza and we live quite high up, and I ran down the stairs to get the pizza. I couldn't breathe, and we had to call paramedics. True story. Cheers to that.
Oh, cheers.
So did you just try and flex your way through COVID? It's not going to get me.
Yeah,
that sounds so un-Russell. Like Russell would never do something like that.
How have you been, Harry? How's lockdown been?
Lockdown has been interesting. So since the beginning, I think I haven't slept that much since I was a child. So it's funny because right before the lockdown started, I already had sent a message to Russell going, mate, I cannot do that anymore. I need at least a week of not working because I am like burning the candle from both ends. I cannot actually do it. And then a lockdown started. So when I said a week, I didn't mean that, but and that week lasted a little bit longer. But yeah, like in reality, it was a healthy process, even in the middle of a pandemic. Like I did a lot of exercise, I did a lot of rest, I did a lot of reading and studying.
Right.
Like it actually was, I cannot, like, obviously for our business, that didn't work at all. For in a personal level, I got some rest that was needed for years.
Yeah.
The fact that it's still going on, it's a little bit overdue.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really proud of the people that I know, which is annoyingly most people I know who've actually used this lockdown as an opportunity to get fit, start eating right, sleeping, reading, all those kind of things. I suppose I'm slightly worried about whether or not I've lost my edge, like whether I've got a soft. Do you know what I mean? Am I still that guy that can pound 10 daiquiris at the end of the bar, crawl home at fuck knows what time, and still get up the next morning and function perfectly fine? Don't know.
You are. Yes. Don't forget, you might not have done it for a little while, but you did it for a long, long time before that.
Yeah.
Years.
There's a difference between being fit and being match fit, though. As I still feel fit, Whether or not I can do 90 minutes of a full bloody game is a different matter.
Yeah, I think that when we do, I think I've actually started saying if we do come out of lockdown ever,
Yeah.
I think there is going to be a serious case of hardcore bartenders just on the street asleep, just covered in their own puke. It's going to be
After 2 daiquiris.
Yeah, it's going to be
That's right.
see for the first couple of weeks where people kind of have to readjust. And
Exactly that. It's the mind will still be strong, but the body will be weak.
Yeah.
Well, this is an opportunity for us to get to know you guys, and I can't tell you how happy I am to see you both fitting well, and I'm so glad you're both in the same room as well. Talk to me a little bit about how you guys met. Like, how did that bond form?
Firstly, I can't remember, so it must be good.
Well, I wasn't even aiming that at you, Russ. Obviously, you wouldn't remember. Harry, do you remember when you first met?
So he was drunk. That's the reason he doesn't remember. So the first time we met was right before Russell started working for Love's company as a bar manager. So I was already there, and he came down to have a drink and his interview, which I didn't know at the time that was an interview. And I was amazed. Like he's one of the most awesome, charismatic people that you can meet. And then I think the day that we
worked
together for the first time was a rematch that happened in Love's company. And then I realized that he's also a dick. That was kind of like the match made in heaven, this charismatic, but also a little bit dickish person. And I decided that this covers all the necessities of having a person as a business partner for all of your businesses. And this is where we are now 7 years later, 7.5, 7.
That long?
Yes.
You deserve a Kim medal.
I won the divorce.
Not possible.
But yeah, I think that goes back then. And then we started working together in Love's company with whatever that entails, which meant a lot of long days and nights.
Yes, if you know, you know.
For a non-stop period of time. So, and that kind of made us become more bonded. And then when Love's company was no more, was the beginning of our company, which was Wet and Dry, which is going pretty well after about 3 years.
So for those, because lots of people know you from Love's company and seen you around at events of Wet and Dry without necessarily knowing what Wet and Dry do. So what have you guys built together?
Go on, Russell. Tell me.
You know, an events and consultancy company. So we do a lot of different things. Primarily, our kind of bread and butter is events. So putting together, bringing all the equipment, bars, bar staff, doing the design of the cocktails, the kind of whole shebang. Working with a bunch of very cool brands. Obviously, we've got that whole kind of background working for brands already. So we had a bunch of different clients that kind of started us off. And yeah, so kind of doing that. And then obviously those kind of weird private parties, things with NDAs that we can't talk about, that I still talk about far too much.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, can you? You just can't not.
There's such good stories though. Don't tell anyone, but.
Yeah, exactly. They literally asking you to sign something.
I just changed the names.
Huh?
I just changed the names.
Yeah, but that's really difficult when you're trying to actually name drop.
No, like you just add the syllable in the beginning.
Oh, I like that. I like that. So yeah, that's good. That's good.
Okay, maintaining your business confidences then, but like, what's the sort of proudest event or competition or something that you guys have built for Wet and Dry? What would you have right on a pedestal?
India. I think it's India.
Yeah, that was something kind of bizarre and special. When we were kind of sitting down devising what we were going to do with Wet and Dry, I said that, you know, we also have to do the private things, weddings, bar mitzvahs. And I remember Harry saying like, oh, you know, is that kind of, you know, is that going to help us? Are we going to thrive in that kind of sector? And I was like, you know, well, I think we'll do okay out of it. And then a couple of months later, we got a job in Mumbai working for, it was an engagement party for the son of Mukesh Ambani, who is still magnate, a billionaire. So we did it, it was in their house called Antilia, which is, I think, in the Guinness World of Records as the most expensive private residence in the world. So it cost $1.5 billion.
Just Googled it.
Yeah. And it was, you know, we've kind of done some pretty cool parties before and some quite high-end stuff, but this was just a whole different level.
Different tier.
It was absolutely insane. So that was kind of, you know, that was pretty amazing. That was something quite special. Yeah.
That country does spectacular on such a grand scale, doesn't it? I've attended we did a couple of Indian weddings in that country that completely changed my perspective of how much disposable income any one person could have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where bridal parties were leaving with Rolex watches and like just as parting gifts and things like that. It's crazy, isn't it? What about the other end of the industry then? Because I know this is an industry where events can be thrown together at the last minute, or not because of anything to you, but the clients chuck stuff at you at the last minute. Like, can you think of like the biggest like shit show you've pulled together and turned into a half decent event?
Ooh, that's probably, like, we cannot call it a shit show, and we cannot.
No.
Who has organized it?
Talk in general terms.
But it is that you have 5 minutes to open the doors, and then the stock arrives.
Yeah. Classic.
And you have to find a way to put around glassware, because it's the first day of a very big international event with people coming from a lot of different countries. And I wasn't there. Russell was. And it was like he put it together. But the story I've heard about it, it's kind of like it may have done something with chess.
Oh.
But I think that is the one. To be fair, changing and having the last minute changes, which are huge, like even that event in India, on the last moment, they had to take down one of the installations that was the main point of the whole event. And they put all of it down because one person walked around and went, yeah, I don't like it anymore. And that must have cost like £150,000.
Yes.
And they just took it off.
Yeah, basically it was the groom's mother.
Classic.
Who decided that the place, so basically they'd hired a company who we were working with, who put in these amazing light installations that were like things you've never seen before. I was like, oh my God, we spent like a couple of hours just going, wow, that's amazing. And she came along and went, no. And they'd all been built and designed specifically for this event. So they then had to take them out, which left the event, the room we were working in practical darkness. We'd come up with these amazing cocktails that looked absolutely gorgeous, which you can no longer see. Basically pitch black. We had one of our staff members go to the toilet, and then she called me. And this was 20 minutes before we were expecting guests in through the door. She called me to say that she was stuck in one of the cubicles. And I'm like, surely you can make your way out. And to find her, and lo and behold, the door that she was stuck behind, the cubicle door, was about this thick.
Nice posh house.
Yeah, ceiling to floor. We had to break it in. It took 5 of us. And this was before we're expecting 200 of India's very richest people coming through the door. So yeah, that was last minute nightmares.
And in a very small team, I'm standing behind the bar with 2 other people, missing 2 people.
Yeah.
And going, yes, cool.
That's
so
yeah, with a tidal wave approaching.
And then just to add insult to injury, when the people did finally arrive, we managed to get everyone behind the bar. We were all ready for it. When they did arrive, they ordered the first 5 orders, and I remember standing there watching my staff working, was a vodka soda.
Yeah.
A vodka soda.
Yeah.
Vodka water. And then the
water
was vodka, soda, and water. Because
half bubbles.
The soda was a little bit too bubbly. So
of course.
Literally, we had this amazing menu of beautiful cocktails that we designed, and the first 4, the 5th one was a straight whiskey. We're like, oh man. So yeah, it was a little bit disappointing, but then again, where we were, couldn't be that disappointed. It was absolutely beautiful.
In India, like straight expensive whiskey serves is pretty much all I served at every event I did. Like you create great cocktails and it's like, just give me the best whiskey. So go back to that. So of all the installations events you've done, what's been the like the coolest setup or the coolest drink serves that you've done? Because within drinks, there's always that tension between what's going to look good and achieve maximum drama, but also you've got to achieve it. You get it in batch. You've got to be able to get it out quickly. Speed of service is key. So there's always that tension. What's been your best solution to those?
Like, we are very prepared in most events, in the sense of if any of that hard work has to happen, it arrives ready. Like, we will do and prepare everything in advance. So when we get there, so the reason why we do that is that we want to be certain that we have time to do the troubleshooting that is needed on the actual event. So other than just being able to start an hour earlier because we know that that may need to happen, we most of the time have the preparation all the way done before we arrive in the venue.
Yeah.
But what is the proudest?
The coolest serve.
I think in terms of pre-batching and a really cool serve was
the Dixie Queen.
Yeah.
Queen, yeah. So Dixie Queen. So we did Dixie Queen is a boat. It is Dixie Queen. I'm not forgetting. Yes, and that is the boat that the last part of the competition for Southern Comfort happens every year. Obviously, it didn't happen this year for obvious reasons, but the year before, we were the company that was involved into organizing and doing all the service on the boat, and also organizing and being able to pre-batch all the 4 cocktails of the contestants that needed 220 serves, I think, of each one.
well remembered.
It has been nailed in my head. So the problem is one of those cocktails was pretty simple. One of those cocktails was milk punch. And that meant that we have to pre-batch.
Actually, no, it wasn't 220 because we had to do twice as many. So it's basically just under 500 of each serve. And one of the finalists, who we shan't name, Gareth Reese, had a cocktail that was absolutely fucking delicious. It was so delicious. It was really worthy, actually. He didn't win in the end, but in my opinion, possibly should have. But we had to pre-batch all of those cocktails, which was
a lot of funnels, a lot of filters, a lot of different areas trying to actually get all of the straining through as fast as possible.
So much filtering.
Yeah, been there. One of those great ideas on paper. It's tough to do in a mass market.
Obviously, he did come and help out, but you know, we were tasked. That was what we had to do. So it was just crazy time consuming.
How do you guys work together? Like, what are your like respective strengths and weaknesses in the business? Who takes over what part of the business? What's Harry good at, Russ? What is Russ good at, Harry?
I mean, honestly, kind of at the moment, for the last year and a bit, Harry's done it all.
So
you
made babies.
And I mean, and it's that thing, you know,
he keeps on reminding me.
But yeah, it's kind of that thing, you know, no one lockdown hit everybody in various different ways. But for me, it took away everything that we built as a family that allows you time to work.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I just had 2 kids that are there 24/7. So that's kind of it's been difficult, but Harry's been amazing. Don't think I said enough, Harry.
But post lockdown, in a normal world, how do you guys work? What's is one of you more business minded? Is one of you like front and center with the clients? How do you divide it up?
I would argue that at the beginning, I was front and center with the clients. Harry was he's more business. You're more business minded than me as well. So we kind of worked quite well. We dovetailed quite well like that. But then I think that as you work together, the longer you work together, the more that you start to kind of train each other. You know, not exactly, you know, almost inadvertently that you just end up kind of taking on the attributes of your partner. So I think that we've kind of learned from each other, and now we we kind of overlap.
Like in reality, through the beginning. So Russell is, as I said, he's a very charismatic person. Also, he's an amazing bartender. So I know, right? He's my favorite bartender to watch working. But
in what way, Harry? What's the so what is it about his bartending?
So it's the actual technique is like he's very fluid and nice. He has a little bit of flair into his work, but he's amazingly charming behind the bar for everyone on the other side.
True.
So it's kind of like that person that relaxes you, enjoy being there, and he actually has an amazing, beautiful smoothness to the way he works, which I always admire. It's very difficult to sit in front of him and have a drink when he asks you things that have to do with work all the time. So I can never do that anymore because at the moment I sit down with a drink, he's going to keep on going. We have to do that, and tomorrow, and that, and that. So in reality, we both are pretty capable of doing everything, but there are parts that either through different times we really enjoy doing more, or parts that we are more excited about. To be fair, most of the really creative ideas that have come from Wet and Dry have come from Russell. Like he has that kind of open-mindedness to kind of go, oh, that and that and that, oh my God, make something. And then I'm usually the one that kind of goes, okay, I will find a way to work all of those things together
actually into
creating something.
So Russell will go from A to D, and someone needs to work out how to go through B and C.
Like, I think pretty much that is, but also at the same time, in other aspects, that keeps on changing through time, because we change through time. Yeah. But
I was going to say, I think that what we said about me kind of being more forward facing and dealing with clients more, that's because you are more reticent to do that. You know, even before we started Wet and Dry, 7 years ago, but I've seen such a change in you where you're so now capable and you seem to enjoy being.
I can speak English now.
But no, really, you're just so much more comfortable now in front of doing what we're doing right now.
I can communicate with the language.
Well, your people skills have always been very good, Harry. I tell people a story all the time of when my then girlfriend, I took her to Love's Company and she met you the first time. And in the cab home afterwards, she spent most of the evening talking to you. And in the cab home, she turned to me and said, I'd leave you for Harry. Straight up told me that. And I literally turned to her and said, you know what, darling, I'd leave you for Harry. So that was always a thing we shared in our relationship.
My night off?
Presumably.
Actually,
chopped liver over it.
He was chatting with you. That's the reason.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So it was when you guys sort of made the move from working in bars, which is a comfort zone, it's where you sort of came through and bloodied yourself, and setting up the event business. Was there anyone that was instrumental in helping you do that? Or were there people that you took inspiration from? People that you modeled the business after?
Ooh, I think me and Russell have different, should I say, not kind of role models for some aspects of it. For me, one of the most high up there role model has been Jivan. Some people in the industry will probably know him. He is Mr. Jivan. His company is called Mr. Jivan. He's doing a lot of events for many, many years now.
Yeah.
He's one of the people that I have the utmost respect for.
100%.
After Love's company stopped being, I spent a year just freelancing as a bartender before we actually kickstarted Wet and Dry. And during that year, I go to work with a lot of different companies. And I think he was by far my favorite. His ethics is one that has stuck with me.
You are spot on. Every young bartender needs to know Jivan. Like Jivan used to work with us at IPB back in the day. He was always very close friends with Ty and Angus and that crew. That guy's been around a long time, and his professionalism and his commitment to like delivering on what's expected in an event is an absolute lesson for everyone. You're absolutely I'm so glad you mentioned his name, because not enough young kids know who he is.
Yeah. For me, I think Michael Butt, you might have heard of him, and Giles Looker.
Cool. Soul Shakers.
Yeah, to see two guys who are very different in their working styles, in their styles and everything, and to see how they've worked so well together is very much an inspiration for kind of seeing how we could work together.
They really are, those boys, and innovative as hell as well, because they were the first group sort of that went way beyond what the initial group of bartender event agencies did, in actually started doing solutions at festivals, and they were super creative, and they took it into a whole new avenue, and I think they opened a lot of doors for a lot of other people. Those boys.
They still have some amazing ideas. Like this year, the festivals didn't happen.
Yeah, they're not dead.
Oh, sorry, we didn't retire them.
I mean,
Took them outside.
I mean, at this particular moment, they are the most innovative company as festivals go, in the sense of the whole picture of a festival. And it was sad that this year festivals didn't happen. One of the actual problems, they actually have workforce solutions that will be implemented in the near future, but they're very cool.
I've got some bits I want to do with you guys, in a bid to kind of get to know you a little bit better. I'm going to shamelessly rip off, because it's my first time doing a proper interview. I'm going to shamelessly rip off one of my favourite interviewers, a guy called Sean Evans on Hot Ones, who whenever I'm not going to make you do really hot sauces. Like if we were here, maybe I'd make you shoot some overproof and then do it. But like we'll save that for another time. But he always does a section go and explain your gram, explain that gram. So I'm gonna go through your Instagram and pick out some pictures that I think need a little bit more explanation.
Okay, this is a bit worrying.
So Harry, you're up first. Harry Gerakis, explain that gram.
I was trying to pick up something from the top shelf. So that is the guy next to me. I'm the guy with the hat. The guy next to me is George Mario Craster.
Hey, George.
At the time, we were working in London Cocktail Week in the Village for the amazing gin that is the Curo Distillery one, and then named Napue. And what happened was that we realized, so the theme of the bar was a sauna bar. And one of the realizations is that the space that we had was a very small space. And it was like a lot of the budget for the brand at the time to have a stand in this particular area. Also, George is one of my best friends, and he was the brand ambassador when that was happening. So the principle of, can we get away with serving like we are in a sauna, like just serving with our aprons on and naked, butt naked underneath? And it seems that we could, because nobody told us to do that. And we kind of created a little bit more of a buzz for the brand by serving a lot of that week in the way that you see there. Also, I have never been touched as much while working an event as this event, because people will come behind the bar and take pictures with us, which was a little bit weird. But yeah, other than that, that is one of the pictures of us being doing the best with what we had.
And your best side is your backside, yeah?
Yes, definitely.
Russ, I've got something on your Instagram account with you looking goddamn fabulous.
Ooh, you have your clothes on.
Explain that, Graham. Is that in a W hotel?
It's for the best. So that was a Drambuie event we did for Wet and Dry. So that outfit was bought for me by the Drambuie brand ambassador, Freddie Camillo May. Yeah, Gay Times Gala. I had a gay old time, actually. It was really good fun.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, less said about that, the best.
Tidy. Man, like, yeah, there's loads of great photos on your Instagram. I'm going to do a quick fire round. So I'm going to fire this at both of you guys, just a little bit to get to know you a little bit better. And I think I know the answer to some of these, but it'll be interesting to hear you explain some of them. So if I said to both of you, rum or whiskey?
Rum.
What rum? What? Don't kiss our sponsor.
We have to call out the t-shirt.
Huh? Yes, your t-shirt.
It's amazing. Your t-shirt is amazing.
Is this too soon? There's no OJ in a Mai Tai.
Too soon, but at the same time.
Okay,
yeah.
OJ did it. Let's all right, we're talking about Mai Tais then. All right, I suspected you guys would say rum. What rum? What like? I pretty much. I think I know where you're going to go, Russ. Where will you go, Harry?
Okay, it's a quick round. I would go right about now something more Barbados, traditional Barbados. But my palate has changed since I first had any rum. So in the last 20 years of drinking rum, my palate has evolved in different flavors. Like I liked a little bit more sweet flavors, and I evolved in liking drier flavors. So rums like Barbados traditional rums or Jamaican traditional rums are the ones that I prefer now. That was not the case years ago. Like it's just as we evolved.
You evolve, yeah.
I prefer drier flavors now. Having said that, I will go with the Ian Burrell. What is your favorite rum? The one in my glass. What
glass, yeah, the Burrell's classic.
Like I think is my favorite statement.
Nice.
Russ, are you Jamaica all the way?
Huh?
You Jamaica all the way?
Yeah, I mean, so this is a, I love this with Coke.
Of course, yeah. Laybacks.
It's a winner. Honestly, like, yeah, I can't even answer that question anymore.
Have you been out to Appleton? Have you spent much time out in Nassau Valley, like out that way?
Have not. I spent a wonderful year brand ambassadoring for Appleton Estate. And the year that I chose to do that job was the year that the the visitor centre was closed.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, because they were turning it into the Joy Spence experience, weren't they? Like Catherine McDonald took it over, that's right. Yeah. This time last year I was in Jamaica. I spent 3 months in between Barbados and Jamaica, just humble brag. In fact, I just remembered one of my favourite stories about you. It was the first presentation you did where Joy presented at Trailer. And it was the launch of Joy. And you were, I've not seen you like this before, you were shit scared nervous. And you stood up and you had your little prepared speech. And you stood up and you went, "Hi everybody, welcome to the Appleton Experience. We're here to launch Joy. My name is Russell Burgess." And it was the having to be prompted to put your own name on the thing that I just lost my shit and dissolved.
Yeah. And I think it was, and I remember because it was obviously the room was rammed. It was packed.
Yeah, absolutely shoulder to shoulder. Yeah.
I said, "My name is Russell Burgess."
Oh God, I've forgotten.
And then there was it, Pete Holland. Pete Holland went and had a little heckle and that just got me back into the room.
Yeah,
again.
exactly. Just fucking okay. Be myself. Be myself.
Yeah, I needed someone to heckle me for me to kind of go, "Oh, I know."
That's right.
The only person I know that heckling is the way to wake them up.
Oh yeah.
It's real danger working to a script because all you're thinking about is what you're going to say. Like I sat here and prepared loads of questions and I've tried not to even look at it because it just becomes really stilted otherwise, doesn't it? That said, I have prepared some more quickfire rounds. So if you prefer, like shirt and tie, dress up smart, or t-shirt and Converse.
Shirt and Converse.
What?
T-shirt.
Shirt and Converse.
Shirt and Converse.
So he's got
T-shirt.
Yeah,
for me, just
you
naked, bro.
Hero style.
Get to work with him.
Things get caught, it gets awkward.
What about champagne, beer, or cocktails?
Ooh. It's gonna be beer, cocktail, champagne for me.
Cocktails, champagne, beer for me.
I know, like it's a thing. I don't know. Yeah. I love champagne, but at the same time, it's one of those alcoholic beverages. I'm a working class person. Like the family, like the champagne is way too good for me most of the time. I am very and also beer and a shot is my favorite drink of choice, other than specific cocktails. But if I just walk into my favorite bar, I'm just gonna go a beer and a shot, please.
Beer and a shot, you're missing the vital third ingredient. Beer shot DAC.
Usually appears out of nowhere next to the beer and the shot in my favorite bars. Like I don't.
We actually created a logo for these series of interviews at first. So the Love Thy Tender, we went down a sort of religious route, and Dav shout out to Dav, created a picture of Christ the Redeemer with a halo bearing a beer, a shot, and a daiquiri on, and his outstretched arms. And when I kind of sent it for just to sense check it inside, it went to a Jewish member of our company who was like, Christ, no. It's like,
Christ,
okay.
no. Did they say Christ?
Okay, yeah.
Getting close to words on this one.
So we kind of went neutral. I think it's probably best for the best. What about Russ? I know you love your comic books, like Marvel or DC, and I kind of want to ask a bit more about comics. So Marvel or DC to you both?
Marvel.
I can't believe that I paused there. My name's Russell Burgess. No, it's still got to be Marvel, although Vertigo's owned by DC, no?
Vertigo, it's an offshoot of, yeah.
It's in the game there. Yeah, that he did.
So,
he did say Vertigo.
Yeah,
so.
20 years ago, I would have said Marvel straight off the bat. But Vertigo have just done so much that I'm now torn between. I've still got to say Marvel, though. Still Marvel.
So I kind of answered the question. What's your best, like, characters or comic book runs?
Jubilee.
Huh?
Jubilee.
Jubilee is amazing. Jubilee is the most powerful movie.
Those light shows.
Yeah, but her 80s outfits as well. She's so cool, man. For me, the greatest comic book in the history of mankind is Transmetropolitan.
Yeah, true.
That was that.
True.
Preacher is a close second.
Yeah.
Things like Sandman's great. There are other ones, but yeah, Transmet for me, Spider Jerusalem, especially considering what's been happening.
What's happening right now? Yeah, like the satire and how scary accurate it is. It's scary, isn't it?
So crazy relevant right now. So yeah, that's mine.
Truth. Like
Character.
a lot of time for that.
Comic. Watchmen. Guy up there.
Watchmen, see.
Yeah.
Animals, classic. Yeah.
Like all of his work pretty much is what I love about. Like when I said Marvel, I didn't think about Vertigo. Like Vertigo and then Marvel, and also Marvel Cinematic. Like I like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I love it.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with Russell that we both like. I believe as characters, like he's Iron Man, I am more like close to Captain America as people, but my favorite between them was always like Iron Man. I don't like Captain America that much. He irritates me a little bit. So it's a constant thing that we have going.
I really like Captain America.
Nobody knows why. Like he's Captain Puerto Rico.
Huh?
Yeah, and yeah,
the other way around. He's Captain Puerto Rico.
And yet, if you describe those two characters, so one of them is a high-functioning alcoholic who's very charming but a dickhead, very much tends towards one of you, and the loveliest person in the industry who's a paragon of being great. I would definitely lean to one and rather than the other.
Before this America.
See, it's a revealing interview. I've got to under your skin.
Oh,
I mean, the only other quickfire question was like late night or early night. And circumstances have forced a little bit of this on you guys, but like, do you reckon you could settle back into that late night and sleeping during the daytime lifestyle? Is that something you want to go back to?
I don't think practically based on what we do now, if we do the late night, then we sleep through in the day. Like practically either because of family or business.
Yeah.
If we do the late night, then we have to sleep a little bit and do the daytime too.
As
There's
well.
no way to actually do one of the two.
Yeah.
I would go as years have evolved. The late night has an amazing charm to it, and I love it when it happens. In moderation, it's amazing and beautiful. I practically, in my personal time, would prefer to go for an early drink, have a little bit of fun, have a chat, and then go home before late night.
Yeah.
Late night doesn't work with my body anymore as well as it used to. In the sense of physically, I don't think I can.
I told you, we've all got soft.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not sad about it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. We just have.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. So obviously, we run an events consultancy company where we're answering the emails at 9 o'clock in the morning and doing that. And we've also now you know, we're doing this roaming bar thing, which is obviously not right now, but will be a late night bar when it's allowed to be. So yeah, we've already got kind of 2 businesses, that one's earlier, one's later. So yeah, we're already doing both. I also have 2 children who sleep different hours. So one of them wakes up, one of them goes to bed, goes to bed at 9. He goes to bed at like 8, 9 p.m. and wakes up at 5 a.m.
Can you not sell that one?
I mean, we've got the other one now. So, I mean, we're in discussions. We're talking about it.
Yeah.
What? I love them to bits, but at the same time, I love them from a distance. I expect them to be older enough so I can have conversations with them. Now I have them dedicated one part, and also they are very good at getting me to talk their way. So after about 15 minutes, it takes a lot of time to remember.
Yeah, it's been like years. It's quite difficult.
His communication skills have dropped a little bit.
Oh yeah, I find myself kind of like explaining things. When I try to explain things, I start talking more loudly and more slowly.
And slowly.
This.
And lilt upwards.
Yeah, which the other adults can be quite rude. Sorry, I should probably say that we're in our bar right now, which is actually live, so we're doing delivery orders. So we've got someone just picking something up.
Thank you so much for taking time out to do this as well, because I know it's busy. I'll tell you what, while Harry's dealing with that, let me throw a question at you. Because we touched upon the fact that even when we go back into bars, it's going to be slightly different. But delve in your mind back. What to you has been the perfect bar you've ever been to? Like, because there's always a function of time and place, but there must have been a perfect bar experience in your mind. What was that?
So my bar, I always say my kind of go-to bar, the one that's just, it feels like home to me, is a little bar in Covent Garden. There's a bunch of bars in Covent Garden. Called Cafe Pacifico.
We've heard of that.
Pro is just, I don't think it gets enough plaudits, because it feels like every time you go in there, like it feels like there's family there.
True.
I've felt that for years, and I've been going there for a very long time. And I remember years ago, must be over 10 years ago, I've been out with friends on a Friday night. They'd stayed around mine, and we'd woken up because we were going to go shopping. So we were like, yeah, Saturday morning, let's go shopping. We were obviously hungover to shit. It was an absolutely awful idea. The shops were rammed. We were in Covent Garden. We were like, let's just go to Pacifico. So we got there, it just opened. I think it was midday. And we got in there, sat down. One of us went out and bought papers. We had some breakfast. Had some tequila, had some beers, chatted.
Oh, I missed that.
Then we were like, oh, what time is it? Oh, it's lunchtime. So we had some lunch. We chatted, we chilled. I think someone went and bought some comics, came back, we were reading them, chatting. We had some other friends join us. Then we're like, what time is it? Oh, it's dinner time. So we ordered dinner, and we basically had 4 meals there, because we ended up having our final meal, which was the staff meal at the end of the night. That they stay and have with them. So it's literally just 3 guys in a bar for 12 hours. And yeah. Oh God, do you remember those times?
I know, God, you're making me tear up. I think that says quite a lot about you as well, actually. I think it's quite a good question to ask someone, because you're right. Like, it's such an important component of that bar experience to feel so totally at home that it becomes your living room. And so the service, the quality of the drinks is all just designed to put you at ease. Like, are you someone that can get comfortable in a like 5-star hotel environment, for example?
I think I can. I think it takes longer. I think it's just a thing, you know. For some people, they might not be able to get comfortable. For some people, they'll feel like it's home straight away. For me, I kind of get that. You know, I'm a little bit more down and dirty, rough and tumble. So I can kind of elevate myself and get that sense of inflated self-worth.
That's it. I've only had 1 sip out my water, and you're topping it up. I'm so important.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, no thanks. And then you kind of start to get, you know, you get used to it, and it will just take, I think, an hour or 2 to kind of go, yeah, no, you're right, I do belong here. Yeah, this is my
I mean, I always feel like a bit of an imposter in those environments, no matter, even if every single one of my friends is staff in the bar, like sometimes I can feel a little bit imposter until you get settled in.
I think it just takes a while to realize that everyone else is also an imposter. And that's
100%.
You're like, oh,
Yeah,
wait,
but it's
yeah. So yeah, it takes a while. I was just going to say as well, one other thing I said about Cafe Pacifico. Another favorite bar of mine, which I think is particularly poignant now, is the Crowbar.
yeah, of course. Yeah, we need some love right now.
Yeah, so that's kind of fallen by the wayside for the foreseeable for a little while. The owner of the Crowbar is, I still consider, a good friend of mine. He actually called me. Yes, sorry, am I in the way? Always in the way, me. I was just grabbing. What are you grabbing, Harry? Oh, he's doing an order. Yeah, so
is that Harry, or is that just some like masked bandit?
Oh no, that's weird.
It's the Western Robo.
They call our so what was I saying? Yeah, the Crowbar is also one of my favorites. Pleasure of working there at the beginning of it.
Well, the annoying thing about Crowbar is that that it's the only real example of a goddamn dive bar that we have, like certainly in this city, and it's frankly annoying when you go to dive bars throughout the States, for example, and you realise just how cozy a shitty environment. It doesn't have to be particularly friendly service. It's just a cold beer. It's a shot. It's some loud music, and it's just the ability to just like kick your shoes and get loose.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're short of those.
I've had the pleasure of doing dive bar crawls in New Orleans with Jake Berger.
Shout out to Berger, yeah.
Yeah, much love Berger, which was, that was unreal. Going out with Giuseppe Gonzalez around New York, seeing all the dive bars there, amazing. And then trying to do that in London. Nah.
Yeah, it's not divey, is it?
No, it's really not.
It's just not divey enough. The rents are too high.
Why? I feel
to
like
really kick the shit out of a building.
Yeah, I feel like Julian DeFerrell needs to write a piece on this because, why are there not more dive bars in London?
I mean, you're in one right now in the closest of I'm not suggesting it's a like beaten up dive bar at all, but it is a basement, local, like just about good service, good drinks, some fucking loud music right now. You're in Ladies and Gents, aren't you? And I know you guys have been doing some stuff with Ladies and Gents. Do you want to talk about what Wet and Dry are doing?
So this is obviously, Wet and Dry as an events company, it's been somewhat quiet this last year, what with events being illegal. I should have just been a drug dealer. So Harry and I, while we were kind of twiddling our thumbs what to do, the option came up to take over Ladies and Gents and run it as we did with Love's Company, our bar kind of over in Old Street back in the day. We were fortunate enough last year to do a little pop-up at Nowhere Special.
Yeah, I remember that. It was good. It was a good time.
Shout out to Helen and Ash for letting us do that. And the reception that we got from doing that, it was just a couple of weeks and it was just rammed. It was amazing.
I remember.
Kind of trying to...
I mean, that was a good dive bar.
Yeah, it really was. So kind of recreating the Love's Company ethos and idea was something that just sat really easily in Ladies and Gents. So we were like, let's give it a go. And we did it in the middle of the pandemic, which we thought was actually the end of the pandemic. So we opened for a couple of weeks before we went back into lockdown. So we've been doing our delivery cocktails. We've been doing nationwide delivery cocktails as well, which we've just started doing, which is going really well. I love it.
Fucking Camden.
That makes it dark. They're after me.
Every 20 minutes on the clock.
So the kind of the Loves at Ladies and Gents thing was just a kind of match made in heaven. And it's been going really well so far. We've got another couple of months, in which time we'll still be doing our nationwide cocktail delivery and our deliveries. And hopefully, touch wood, we'll be able to actually reopen properly and have people down so we can really show them what we're all about.
A bar with people in.
I know.
Harry, like you missed some great fucking enlightening questions about bars, but
that's the talking. I usually work at the same.
Yeah, well, Russell,
happens.
We're going to press you into action, Harry, because Russ has done all the nice stuff, but I want to know about the cocktails that you guys have been serving because I haven't had any yet.
Cool.
They look fucking great. Can you talk us through the Love's cocktail range? Can you do the pitch for us?
So, yes, all of our cocktails, the idea behind our cocktails is cocktails that are nice. In reality, we want to play around traditional classics. The reason for it is amazing, new, innovating cocktails work very well when you can explain them in person. It's a little bit different when you're trying to get everyone through an app or through a site to kind of go, yeah, I'm gonna pay this 30 pounds and buy this pouch. So we stack around more known classic cocktails in the sense of either old fashions, sours, and we added a little bit of sparkle to it in the sense of, so we make a gold rum fashion, which is a rum fashion with a little bit of gold dust, which makes an amazing, beautiful effect that he's gonna show in a cube.
Ooh, or other.
Ooh, Paul doesn't like it.
So I should cover it.
I'm loving it. I'm sorry.
Whatever, yeah.
That was me trying to multitask without recognizing I can't multitask.
I felt like I'm losing you.
Shit.
Is it
Go
my?
ahead.
Is
Still
it,
there,
is
Be on
it
me.
right?
Sell to the audience. Okay, shiny.
Shiny, classic. But yeah, pretty much that is the principle. So cocktails that are easy to understand. You have tried them, you have tasted them before with a little bit of a happy event when you open them up.
Shit. Don't just stop there. I was trying to multitask.
So what do you think about that, Paul?
I think that was amazing. I particularly like the shiny bit.
It's shining. You got to keep going back to that. We can.
Can you give us a taste of some of the other cocktails, and just describe them?
So I think my favorite out of them, my recent favorite out of them, is gonna be the Valentine's Cherry Cosmo. So you can do it. It's behind you.
Oh, I got it.
So we have planned that before. All of it was already pre-planned. So the Valentine's Cherry Cosmo is a cosmopolitan with the cherry Vestal vodka.
Yeah.
And the reason that we went with that is Cosmopolitan is a beautiful cocktail, but a little bit of more cherry flavor really works with it and balances more.
Yeah.
So
it's one of those ones
kind of like an easy one to go for, and it's also the right color for Valentine's.
Yeah. It's one of those ones where like, oh, let's do a cherry drink, or shall we do a Cosmo? Cherry Cosmo, and it works really well. It's absolutely banging. It's really tasty.
What kind of steps have you had to take? Because there's a big difference between making a cocktail live in front of someone in a bar and getting it ready to serve at home. Like, what are the considerations you have to make?
Like the main one is being able to preserve it in your fridge without worrying about it.
True
It's
that.
actually like that created a solution. So we're using a different blend of different acids with a little bit of lemon essence in it.
Yeah.
So we get the same kind of acidity from lemon and lime, but in a way that is not gonna go off or change over time while you have it in a bag in your fridge for a week. It's some you win, some you lose, but at the same time, at this particular moment, I think we have nailed down our citric recipe. So we get all of the good things about juice without actually going to the very citric kind of aftertaste that you get from kind of.
Yeah.
I remember when we were doing cocktails for sort of serve at home, and one of the considerations that's different when you're in a bar is measuring and being very precise about dilution, for example, in that bartenders, every cocktail spec is very detailed on every level except for shake and strain, which doesn't acknowledge that water is an active ingredient in every cocktail. Do you send your cocktails out fully diluted, ready to drink, and you put it over fresh ice, or do they need a bit more dilution to open up a bit more?
So it's right on the point between those two. The reason
right, so you scale it back a bit more than you would do.
Try to just put it in a glass with no ice. We suggest put it over ice. That is
right. Okay.
And that is because through the delivery process or whatever, keep it in the fridge, that's perfect. But pulling the rice will make it nicer for you, and it's going to open up the flavors. That means that it has to be diluted a little bit less than the perfect dilution, just to cover the fact of you added ice is not going to go instantly into, oh my God, there's too water. So still it's kind of nice to drink without the ice in it. But it covers is that small line in every recipe that just to cover enough water to have the dilution there and it's ready to drink. If you put it over rice, this extra dilution is not going to ruin it.
Technical stuff, isn't it?
This experimentation process of having Russell drinking a lot, like
Russell's just here to look good.
So sorry, you reminded me of a story because we were talking about that, having the cocktails maintain their consistency throughout.
Yes.
So that you can buy it and have it delivery, people are going to drink it straight away. But then if you're doing a nationwide delivery, we know it's going to take a couple of days to deliver there, to get there, and they might not want to have it immediately. But it just came to mind, Papa Jules. Papa Jules, who was the bar.
I mean, there's only a handful of people who still remember like Papa Jules back in the day watching this. So
but he was the bar manager of Mahiki.
He was the best bar manager. Yeah,
he was amazing.
Crazy man.
And he bottled cocktails. So we're talking 12 years ago. And he bottled cocktails, and we were giving them out to people like custom, kind of regulars and the like. And he didn't preserve anything in there. So basically, after a certain amount of time, they exploded.
Fermenting in the bottle,
And we know it happened because someone came in and went, "Oh, yesterday the cocktail that I had exploded." We were like, "Oh!" And this was and it was I think it was 3 months after we'd given them out. So we were like, "Oh no, maybe it was just a one-off." And then obviously, for the next couple of weeks, people were going, my cocktail just exploded. And people were having them on mantelpieces in front of paintings.
Oh, Jesus.
And we were like, oh my God. And it was like, who did we give them out to? Let's call them and tell them that they've got a grenade sat on their table or in their fridge or whatever. Yeah, but just ridiculous. So we were trying to avoid that with our cocktails.
Well, we had something similar when we started doing the Stiggins Fancy rum that if you leave the top off the bottle, let's say you put a speed pour on it for a week or two, because it's just fresh pineapple infusion and rum, it will just oxidize and it will start dissipating out. And so people are saying, oh, it's less pineapple-y. It's like, yeah, it's a goddamn fresh ingredient. Like you've got to, if you open it, you've got to use it. Like now, luckily, it's stabilized at 40%. But at the time, I was quite dismissive and just fucking drink it. And I suppose the same thing applies to the cocktails. You bought the damn cocktails, they're not there to be looked at for the next 3 or 4 months.
So it's like someone coming up to the bar and going, my martini's warm.
Yeah. When did you order it? The Wednesday before last.
Walked around with it in my hand.
Yeah. It took a couple of weeks. I took it home with me. It's been on my mantelpiece. It's warm and there's dust on it. So people watching this are going to want to know how to get hold of your cocktails. Like, we're going to put links in whatever. I'm so untechnologically minded. There's going to be links somewhere. I'm going to try and make it easy. But tell people, where do they go?
Okay, let's have my accent say. So if you go in www.lovesat.co.uk, yes, I got our page correct.
So it's loves.
Lovesat.co.uk.
So LOVESAT. .co.uk.
And there you can order them nationwide, and they're gonna arrive earliest next day, the day after, latest whenever the actual arrival date will be. And you can have all of the cocktails that we're doing in the menu here. If you are lucky enough to live around the corner from us in about a 3-mile radius of Kentish Town, then you can order it through Deliveroo Wednesday to Sunday. And I come with a message, a personal message from us, and a heart that I am very good at drawing now on the bars. So
I'm gonna see if I can order some of those right now. Like Warwick Avenue, that's not that far away, is it? Kentish Town, like
might be a little
3
too
months?
far.
If you find a driver that is gonna say yes to that, then give him some tips when they arrive.
But yeah,
Oh, any delivery driver. I must be a delivery fucking VIP customer right now. So sometimes we have a holding pattern of drivers outside the doors, like 3 or 4 at a time from 3 or 4 different restaurants, because Nick and I have ordered simultaneously starters and main courses from somewhere else.
We come with "Hello, Mr. Paul," because they can only see your first name in your
That's
account.
right.
Like with the first name of any account, but not the actual any other details. So you're gonna be Mr. Paul, and he's gonna be Mr. Nick. And that's pretty much it. But yeah. Also, just received the message, Philip, Genia, we love you too.
Yes, and good luck to what Philip and Jenny are doing.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have to interview those reprobates at some point down in their little Welsh boat hall. I promised you I'd take about half an hour to 45 minutes of your time, and in true fashion, we're an hour in. So you know what? I'm going to leave it there. Guys, you are beloved in the industry. I fucking love what you're doing with the cocktails. It's actually been a real honor to get to know you guys a little bit more and ask you some sort of the sort of questions I wouldn't necessarily have asked sitting across of you over a bar having a beer.
Well, you need to interview people when sitting across them from the bar.
Well, I might start.
Yeah, he's probably done that, actually.
Yeah, I might start. Yeah.
What is your favorite thing to do?
Anyway, while you're making those 3 daiquiris, tell me about when. It's been great to get to know you guys. If anyone's got any questions for Russ and Harry, like we'll try and answer them in comments or whatever. But thank you so much for your time, boys. It's been a real pleasure.
For having us.
Love, die tender from us. Like I love you guys. So thank you.
Thank you for having us. Very real pleasure.
Cheers, boys.
Bye-bye.
Be safe.
Bye bye.
Let's get pissed.